In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the spark plugs on a 2014 Mazda 6. The procedure is pretty much the same for most vehicles, but here is this being demonstrated on a 2014 Mazda 6. The first thing we're going to do is remove this cover. This cover is held in by rubber grommets and nibs either on the engine or on the plastic. I've already gone ahead and removed some of this, so basically you end up lifting the four corners and then this comes off in this fashion. Now that the top portion of the engine is exposed, we're going to remove the ignition coils that are on top of each spark plug. You will simply undo these clips, unhook them. The best thing to do is put tape on here as 1, 2, 3, and 4 so that you know where they go. But it's not necessary. I'm not going to do that because the first one comes off of here, the second one comes off here, third one comes off of here, and the fourth one is coming off of here. And so after that is done, you simply go ahead and remove this bolt to here, and then once that is removed, then this will simply come off. Once that is done, then we will simply go ahead and use a socket with an extension on it. We're going to use the spark plugs extension socket to remove the spark plugs. So let's get started by removing the connectors to the ignition coil. When removing the clips, you simply depress this down in here and you pull towards yourself. You basically push down and pull. You're basically pushing down on these two tabs, which then kind of releases the pin, and then this is able to pull out. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the rest of the two ignition coils. With the connectors removed, used an 8mm ratchet to remove the bolts right here. Once you have removed this bolt, we're just going to place this one here. You're just going to go ahead and simply remove the ignition coil. So in these cars, the ignition coil is right mounted above the spark plug itself, and then it attaches to the spark plug, which is down in that hole right there. So we're going to go ahead and use a socket, spark plug socket with an extension and a ratchet to remove the spark plugs. This is the setup that I'm going to use to break the 4 spark plugs loose. Using a ratchet case, I had to use a deep socket because the spark plug socket was not big enough. So we're going to use this setup to break all 4 of the spark plugs loose, and then I will show you how to remove the spark plugs from the holes. Okay, so what I'm going to be using here is 5/16 inch fuel line hose, and basically the opening in here is just big enough for the metal tip to go in, but then we're going to push this in so that it grabs the ceramic, and then we're going to basically twist this out so that we can pull the spark plug out. Let's try this one here. Yeah, so I've got the spark plug. I'm pushing down and turning. And here's the spark plug. So basically we're gonna unhook. I'm gonna place it down here, and I'm gonna go for the next one. These are the plugs that I just pulled out of the car. As you can see, the tips are a very light brown. This is optimal color for spark plugs that are burning correctly, and it indicates that my car is not running too rich. The indication for that would have been black plugs, or too lean, and the indication would have been white colored tips. So these are basically the Mazda OEM plugs. They should have been replaced, I think, at 70,000 or 75,000 miles. I'm at 115, so I am overdue. So we're going to go ahead and replace these. So I wanted to show you the spark plugs that I got from the dealership. This is the part number for it. These are NGK spark plugs, but they don't say that. However, if you were to look at the part number, it is the ILK AR7L11, which is which is basically the Laser Iridium Premium NGK plugs. And here is that plug right here, and it says NGK on it. It's got the part number on it. Basically, these run like $35 or $24 depending on what dealership you're getting them from, as opposed to getting them for $20, and then you could use a 25% coupon at Advance Auto Parts, for example, and get them for like $15 each. So definitely, this does not need to be a dealership part. You can go to any other auto part and get NGK plugs. One other thing that I wanted to mention about the spark plug is that the Mazda plugs come pre-gapped. The NGK plugs that you get from the store are pre-gapped as well. I measured them using some feeler gauges. Basically, the required is 0.044 inches. And so if you have a feeler gauge, 0.023 plus the 0.022 together should not be able to go in, but the 0.002 and 0.0021 feeler gauge should be able to pass through. It's not pulled out, but anyways, you get the point. And so what I did was I went and measured these, and I was able to get 0.045 to go in. So what I did is I'm going to leave the spark plug gaps as shown. I think they're going to be perfectly fine because 0.045 does not go in, 0.043 goes in with a little bit of resistance, and in some cases it went in without any resistance. So these are already correctly gapped. So here I've got the rubber hose installed over the spark plug. One thing that we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and use some anti-seize lubricant. We're going to apply just a tad bit on the plug itself, and then we're just going to go ahead and lower it and install it. This is just extra safety down the road. If you ever have to pull them out again, they're easy to remove. You never have an issue, but just in case for that one time. So we're going to go ahead and apply just a dab of anti-seize like that. Just a schmidt right there, just that much. And now we're going to go ahead and install it into the block. Okay, so our spark plug is in. Basically, it's not spinning anymore, so it's safe for me to pull out the hose, and we're done. So we're going to do the same for the next for the next 3 plugs. So when you're installing the spark plugs, you want to make sure that you seat them correctly. And so the rule of thumb here is that if the spark plugs, that when you're seating them, if the shape of this crush washer at the end is supposed to be conical, then you need to be able to, you should be turning it only a 1/16 of a turn. However, if it needs to be flat, then it needs to turn approximately a half a turn after hand tightening. So I'm looking at the old plugs, and both of these are pretty clear that it is a flat seating. So once we have threaded in the new spark plug, we want to make sure after hand tighten we turn it a half a turn. So here is the new plug, and as you can see, the crush washer is not flat, and in this one you can see it is flat, not conical. So we are going to take this hand tightened, and then after that with the ratchet we're going to turn it a half a turn. So now we're going to turn this halfway. That's it. So that spark plug is set. Now we're going to do the same thing to the next spark plug over. So this is hand tightened. We're going to go a half a turn. half turn. Do the same thing to the next one. And then finally for the last one, and that's it basically. We're done installing new spark plugs. With the spark plugs tightened, we are now going to install the coils back over the spark plugs. Make sure that you push them down snug, and they will only fit one way. So you'll know that the coil has plugged in, and the bolt hole will line up and will be at the same level as it should be. Once you've got the coils installed, then you install the bolts to secure the coils in place, then plug in the electrical back onto the coils, and this concludes the spark plug change process. So this concludes our video. I hope that this video has been helpful for you to see how simple this project is and that you too can do this. So if you've got any questions, please make sure you ask in the comments below, or if you've got any suggestions that other users can do or make it easier for themselves, please make sure to comment below. I want to thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to help me out.